can usually talk loud enough that I don't need a microphone, but hey, we'll go with that. So before I get into everything, I just wanted to let you know we're giving away 2 of these sweatshirts. We stenciled them ourselves. And we're doing a survey. After our talk, we'll hand it out over break, and then we'll use the survey to do a draw for the t-shirts or the sweatshirts. So I'm Rose, and I'm the new owner of the Cooperators here on Main Street. And first, before we get into this, I just wanted to thank the township for doing all of this. Like, oh, sorry, am I off the X? All right, education is really key. No matter what it is we're doing in the world, whether we're building a business or we're going on a holiday, planning is so important. And making sure we have the right people in place to help us with that planning is so important, right? So we have been rebuilding our farm team at the Cooperators location here, and this is the agenda we're going to go over quickly today. Sorry, I'm going to step off the X because I like to move around. Introduce the Cooperators team, what's happening in Ontario farm insurance, things to be aware of on your policy, because my neighbor's policy for their farm operation is not going to be the same as my farm operation. Because we always hear, well, you know, John has this on his policy and he pays this rate and he does all of this, and that's because it's completely different. What types of insurances you should have, we've been talking a lot about that today. And risk management, mitigation, and prevention. Somehow I hear a theme here today. Right? And then we'll see if you have any questions after that. If I'm being really loud, let me know, because I feel like I'm yelling. Okay? So this is me when I had shorter hair, trying to grow it out. And this is my little bio. So I started in financial services in 2003, and I started working in the RESP world. For those of you that have kids, those are education plans, because I thought, who doesn't want an education plan for their child? And I am a social butterfly, so I like to hang out, chit-chat, play with kids, and I thought, this is my career. So I started doing that, and then I just evolved into financial planning, because families would ask me, can you help me with this, can you help me with that? And I happened to be pretty good with my money, so I said, sure. Then I made it legal, because I could get into trouble talking about prevention. So I did that, and then I evolved into business planning, succession planning, estate planning, and I would go through insurance policies, and I would say, you know what, fix this, fix this, fix this, fix this, go talk to your broker. But then I never really knew if they actually did it. So in 2016, I said, nope, I'm gonna go make it legal. I got another license, and that's how this all sort of happened. Because then I know it's being done properly, because I kind of a little bit of a control freak. And so in 2022, Cooperators approached me, and we went back and forth, and then my firm merged with Cooperators, and I took over the office in 2023. So I'm new to the Coldwater community, but I've been living in Oro-Medonte for, because I'm a little bit over 29, 30 years. Right? And so I hold 3 licenses. I'm also in the process of getting the 2 highest designations that you can have in financial services, which is your CLU and your CFP. So I'm very versed in insurance, financial planning, estate planning. So that's my little tidbit. And I have 3 dogs, 2 senior cats. So yeah, I'm a cat lady. And this is our senior advisor. She couldn't be here with us today because unfortunately all of her family is down with the flu, so we said, you keep that, we'll work it out. So Barb, I wish she was here, because if any of you have spoken with her yet, she is amazing. So she, not only is she our senior farm advisor, because we dragged her out of retirement, she's a farmer. So her family had a massive farm in Saskatchewan. They did crops, they had over 500 head of cattle, so she knows farms inside and out. And they did a transitional transfer to their nephews before she moved back to Ontario. She's actually from the Collingwood area, but for some reason her and her family moved out to Saskatchewan, had a farm there, and then she said, okay, we're done, we're coming back to Ontario. Then she was also, at the same time she was doing farming, she became a financial planner. So she worked with a lot of farm families, did a lot of succession planning, and then she retired. So I said, I don't think so. When I took over the office, I pulled her over into the office in 2024 so that we could have a really good diversification for our farm families. So she is the main person that will be handling the farms, and we're never going to let her go. So right now she resides in Espanola, Ontario, so she works remote, but in today's world that seems to work, and she does come to the Coldwater area when we need her. But we also have another member of our farm team, and that's Prab that you see here. Prab has experience in farming, but not in Canada. Her family in India had 10,000 acres of farming, which is completely different farming world in India. A, they have all year to farm, and B, it's a lot of manual labor there. So she's been learning a lot about Canadian farm here, which is interesting, right? And I've been learning about farms in general. And she came to Canada, I'm not sure what year it was, but she went to college here. She came as an international student. She got her business management with honors from Lambton College in Sarnia. And I always joke with her because that's where she would have learned about Canadian winters. And then she came to Coldwater, and it's like, hello, snow, right? And this is nothing, right? And so she joined our company last year in 2024. And she's been out in our community meeting with farmers, looking at the farms, going over this whole discussion about risk prevention. And her and her husband, she met her husband in college, and they live in Midland, and they have the Popeye's chicken in Midland in case anybody wants to go there and have some. And they love the area and exploring the area. So that's our team for our farm. And so one of the big things that we wanted to talk about in this session is really providing an education, because I almost every day, why are my farm premiums so expensive? Why is insurance going up? How come this is costing me much more? Last year it went up by 200, this year it went up by 200. And to be honest with you, it's just because everything is going up, right? It's not that we arbitrarily decide to increase your premiums, it's because the cost of everything is increasing. So some of these things that we ponder about are why they're increasing. Catastrophic events are at an all-time high. Just yesterday, I had 4 people come in to meet me about collapsed roofs, right? So I know there's a lot more of them out there. We have compliance and regulation. This is a heavily regulated industry. We cannot just go and increase our prices because today I feel like doing that by 20%. Because the government's going to say, I don't think so. That's not in the best interest of the client. So whatever we do always has to be in your best interest. Yes, we want to make money. We're still a for-profit organization, but we still cannot do something that's never in the best interest of the client. So the things that we're asking farmers to do, or anybody that owns a property or business, are because it's in the best interest to keep those premiums down, or to stop people from stealing things from you, like trucks, and who knew that people would go on your farm and steal your gas? I didn't know that, I just learned that, but they do. So we have an increase in material costs, we have increases in labor costs, and the larger our buildings are today, the more expensive they are. And of course we have wind, water, and snow. In Canada, those are 3 of the main, and fire, I should have actually put that up there too. Just so you guys have an understanding, in Canada in 2024 alone, insurance companies paid out $10 billion in claims. That's a lot of money. Now, we're just a small country. To give you an idea of what the LA fires have cost the insurance industry, and that's not even finalized, it's $120 billion. So we're not in the industry to keep your money, we're actually keeping it for you to pay it out when you need it, and trying to keep the premiums down the best we can. So how does it impact you? Well, it creates a lot of frustration, anxiety. People don't really understand their coverages. What do I have? What don't I have? They just remove coverages because they don't want to pay the premiums, but when they have the snow load and now they don't have collapse on their building, it's a problem, right? They increase their deductibles, and when it comes time to make that claim, can they pay that deductible? Right? Potential requirements to do updates or improvements. Somebody talked about a 60-year-old barn. Well, it's not uncommon to see a 100-year-old barn still in use, or using it for another operation. Well, you have to make sure that it's going to meet the rules and regulations for those operations. We might come in there and do an inspection and say, I'm sorry, but it's not structurally sound because of the age, or it wasn't designed for that operation. Right? It's really important to make sure that you take care of your buildings, right? Self-insuring is a big, big deal, and Prab will explain that in her presentation. So how does this impact the insurance industry? We have the impact on the client, but we also have the impact on the industry. Remember, we're holding your money for you, and we have to guarantee that we have that money that's there for you when those claims come, right? We can't be like some other company and do Chapter 11. We can't do that. Your money has to be there when it's needed. So we have to increase premiums. We have to make sure that your coverages and your limitations are there, and that you have a clear understanding of your policy. We need to educate the consumers. So that means you have to spend time with people like me when you need to be out in the field or out in the forest or whatever it is your operation is doing. We need to spend that hour of time going through it. We need compliance and regulation to protect consumers, right? We need new technologies. Cooperators is actually running a pilot program right now, working with our communities to make sure they're more, there's better protection for forest lines and the communities so that we can help them during wildfires or any kind of natural disasters. We actually really do really well working with people and designing those things. We have new digital technologies that Prab will touch on as well. But it's also an increased workload for the company. And sometimes we have to make those difficult decisions when we go out to a property and the property hasn't been maintained. They're not doing the maintenance that's required on the property, and we have to say, we can't take this risk, because that risk is going to cost everybody else's premiums to go up, right? So lots of hard conversations we have to have with our families. And so it's not fun. It can be overwhelming for everybody. It's frustrating, since the old days of doing business on a handshake, they don't exist anymore, unfortunately, right? So things you need to be aware of on your policy. Liability. This protects you from injury or damage that you unknowingly may cause to someone else, right? So you have to make sure that you have the proper liability. I just had a conversation with somebody about that today. If I look at your policy and I see your liability, especially in farms, is 1 million or 2 million, I already know you don't have enough liability without even going any farther, right? So your property needs to be taken care of. That covers your machinery, your livestock, produce, structures, dwelling, tools, right? We might have a whole bunch of tools, and cumulatively they might be worth 20 or 30,000. But you think, oh, it's not that much until I give you the list, and then you do it and you're like, oh, it is a lot of money. So we need to make sure that you have that protection. Loss of income. Your income is driven by your farm operations. If we don't protect that and something happens, how are you going to manage that income? We all have bills to pay every month, right? Coverages. So this is like pollution, loss of use of your machinery. If a tractor is instrumental in your business, then if your tractor suddenly breaks down, then we need to make sure it's damaged from a storm. We need to make sure you have access to get another one quickly, right? But if it's not on your policy, you won't get that, right? And so your actions as a farmer in raising livestock or producing crops, that is your occupation. So we need to make sure that that's protected. So, but that's not where it stops. Are you doing more? And this is where we get into adding non-farming operations to your property. Quite often I'll meet with a farmer and they are doing other operations on their property, and they just assume that it's covered under their policy, and it is not. So that's where you need to have commercial insurance. And everybody's like, oh man, do I need another insurance policy? Yes, unfortunately, because farm insurance is not designed for commercial operations. So commercial operations is going to categorize things that are non-farming activities. So non-farming activities can include anything that you're doing that isn't growing a crop. So we'll go into that a little bit more, but what it's going to do is cover you for those activities that are not included on your farm policy. So it's going to protect you, it's going to protect the farm and its operations, because if you get sued for something, the only asset you can go after there, because you don't have any protection from your insurance policy, or your personal assets, right? So a lot of farms are generational farms. So they're not necessarily owned outright by one particular family. There could be multiple families involved in here. And if they are, and you don't have the proper insurance, it's not just your assets, but it's your family members' assets that you could have a problem with, right? And your ability to generate income. It's always best if you have any change in your farm operation, you're thinking about making a change, you want to add something to your business, just pick up the phone and call your agent. It doesn't have to be Cooperators. Anybody you have your farm insurance with should be able to sit down and go over this with you. Okay? And so now I'll let you take care of that.
Okay, thank you, Rose. Okay. So what this self-insuring is, it is a fancy term we hear a lot, but what it's actually is when you're insuring your part of like farming yourself. Let's understand with an example. Suppose if you have a barn of $100,000 and you decided, okay, let me insure it myself for $50,000. So you know what my next question is? It's not working. Let me react it. What? Are you actually doing that? So you are taking risk of like insuring 50,000 of your property by yourself. Okay, but let's check what are the pros and cons of that. So the pros are you can reduce the insurance premium. Yeah, you will save some money and put it in your pocket. That's good. But what about the cons? Your premium will increase for sure. But what about the loss of asset? You are reducing your coverage for the $50,000, but if something happened to that barn, and what about the less coverage? You're not covered fully. And if something happened, you're paying that expenses from your pocket. So whatever you saved it by paying less premium, but now at the time of claim or any damage, you are spending much more. And cost of material, equipment, tools, you never know. So what is coinsurance and is that self-insuring? So we always are in a doubt, like, is that both the terms are same? Coinsurance, self-insurance, but they both are different. Self-insurance is what you choose, and coinsurance is a contractual requirement from the insurance company. It's not only the cooperators, it's from all the companies. So I know it's like a little bit confusion. So let's just understand this. So as we're taking the same example, as you're at the same barn for $100,000, you're self-insuring at $50,000. Something happened, your barn went down, fire, snow, something. And now with that co-insurance thing, your insurance company is paying you for certain percentage. Will not go in the percentage, it'll different from company to company. Take it like 80%. Your company is only paying you for 80%. So now you already take a risk for self-insurance and the company is only paying you 80%. So technically sometime it's end up in only 1/3 of the value. Insuring to value is contractual requirement. So did you carry the amount of insurance you should have at the time of loss?
Becky?
Okay.
Battery's running low?
Let me try to finish it. I don't want this thing to be dying on me. Oh, thank you. So did you carry the same amount of insurance you should have at the time of the loss? So after all the calculation that we discussed, so sometimes you end up with getting very less money and then you're stressed. Okay, why should I decided to like sit with my advisors or my insurance company and get a right decision at that time? So now we'll discuss some factors that you can consider, manage, mitigate, prevent. And all through the day, we discuss these factors a lot. So first is risk management. How do you maintain your premises, animals, machinery, employees? So are your premises is like cleaned, as we just heard before? Like, are you maintaining it? What about your animals? Are there like in fences? Is there machinery? Are you taking proper care? What about your employees? Are they fully skilled? Do they know all your operations? What action do you take to actively ensure that your operation is being managed? Are you taking the proper actions? Or you're missing something? You're like, okay, maybe my barn is a 50,000. 20 years ago, it's still the same. Oh, maybe it's 60,000 now, 70. It's not. The prices are changing. Are you aware of your exposure? You like all the farm property. I went to like a lot of farm property. I know usually all of them have wood stove. Do you take care of your wood stove? Are you like know what all the exposure it can be, what all the hazards it has? Do you have correct insurance? Risk mitigation. What plans do you have to reduce your exposures? I'm aware, like my electrical panel was not working. Let it be. It will work, and I will hide it from my insurance company. But are you doing it right? Are you like, do you operate machinery on specific roadway? Maybe some of you are aware about the ATVs changes. Are any of you aware? Are ATVs still in the farm policies? No. So now that we can't put our ATVs on the farm policy, they need to be an auto policy. There is a lot of changes going on. So the reason we can't put the ATVs on the farm policy, suppose you have 2 farms. That's so common in today's time. Like you're not even 2, you have like tens, hundreds of like different farm properties. And if you're traveling from one farm to another, when you hit the road, your ATVs are not insured. And if something happened, you're in trouble. So these are some things. That's why you need to sit with your insurance company and want to make sure, are you properly covered? Is everything is right on your policy? Do you have proper notification on your orchard? Do you require waivers for customer or guests? If someone come to pick berries or something, do they have waivers? Are they doing these stuff on their own risk, or are you liable for that? Have you changed something on your operation? You bought a new tractor, and on excitement, you just forget to tell your insurance company. And after, like, God's sake, 6 months, something happened. And you're like, and your partner, wife will be very upset. I saw that incident. I went to a farmland, and there's like, you didn't tell this to our insurance company? So these things happen. And have you changed something to your operations? Did you add something? You decided, let me just bought some horses and start the horse boarding, horse riding. Did you talk with your insurance company? Are they insuring these things? Is it safer for you or for general public? So you have animals in your farm and they're not in the fences, they're on the road. Is it safe? It's not. Risk prevention. Do you have fire extinguisher on your machinery? Are you taking care of that? Same like we have wood stove, we have many other stuff. We need to take, that's why whenever you go to any insurance company, they ask for, do you have vet certification? Do you have this kind of certification? Sometimes it's irritating, like they are asking a lot of stuff, but it's for your benefit. Do you have electrical monitoring device, such as the pref tech on your barn that can manage if any fire or electrical things, same like we have alarms, so that if someone comes, we got a notification, okay, there's someone in there. Do you lock your gas tank? As Rose discussed before, there is a lot of situations when people come to your property, take your diesels, and that's very expensive. It looked like a weird and a silly thing, like people are doing it, but we can see this. With all these things, it's mandatory to review your policy, review your limits with your insurance professional, because they know what best your needs, how we can help you. Call your machinery dealer. You bought a tractor a year ago, you know the value, but what about the other combine that you have bought it like 20 years ago? Is it still worth the same? It's not. Have a conversation with your local contractor. Find out what's the actual value of your house, your barn, your any other outbuilding right now, so that you are not self-insuring and paying from your pocket. Understand that all the insurance companies are not equal. Let's talk about cooperators there. We do farm visit, we do inspections, we prefer to go to farmers yearly and sit with them, review everything, and then make changes and recommend anything. Connect with your financial advisor or accountant, because we are here for help. Understand your coverages. It is contract, insurance, or the business of paying promises. Why cooperators? So if you guys are not aware, Cooperators is the firm which is built by the farmers, for the farmers. So right now we are doing auto insurance, we are doing home, we are doing wealth, financial thing, lot of stuff. But how we started 80 years ago? It's a firm which is started by, like, we can take few farmers. They decided to put some money together and put it in a bank. And what we will do, if we need anything and in any situation, if anything happened, we can use that money. So how, and I'm standing here in front of you after 80 years, we're still considering farm insurance like our priorities. Cooperators is one of the largest provider of farm insurance in Canada. We know the business, we know the need of the farmers, the family. That's why we prefer to visit personally. We don't only sell the insurance, we make relations. We are integrated in our local communities. Do you guys have any questions? I know it's a lot of knowledge, a lot of stuff today, but if you have any questions later, we are like always here. We are in I guess 2 blocks down. You can come anytime. You have our cards. You can call us. We will help you anytime. Yeah. And at the end of today, we are doing a survey. I guess Rose already talked. And then let's see who'll get these fancy T-shirts. Thank you.